and welcome to Pet Watch, a special edition with a COVID-19 update because things are changing rapidly as far as scheduling and events, and we want you to be up to date. First of all, I'd like to tell all our pet owners that the American Veterinary Medical Association has issued some guidelines in case you've been worried about your pets and the COVID-19 virus. You should know that infectious disease experts and multiple international and domestic human and animal health organizations all agree that there's no evidence at this point that our pets could become ill with the COVID-19 virus or that they spread it to other animals, including people. They do recommend, if you're still feeling good and you're not ill, and I hope that is the case, to kind of have a 2-week plan in the back of your mind. If you should catch the virus and need to rest for a while, that you have a friend or someone else in the house that knows how to care for your pet, that you could call on to do that. Because it is better that if you have the COVID-19 virus, that you limit contact with your pet. I know that's not something we like to do, but it is recommended simply because pet's saliva and our germs, if we have COVID going onto the fur of the animal and then the animal carries it for a few minutes and goes into the other people in your house, it could infect them. So it's just a precaution. If you want to read more about that, go to the American Veterinary Medical Association site and read about that, or the CDC site, or call your veterinarian for advice. Secondly, today I'd like to remind you that we've had to cancel some of the free spay-neuter clinics that we were scheduled for in April at the shelter. Those were mostly on Tuesdays, so there will be no spay-neuter clinics on April 7th, 14th, 21st, and 29th. We are, however, taking appointments now for the May and June dates. There are 9 dates in June and 7 in May. So if you want to call the shelter, we are there, 790-5590, extension 1823, to talk about those free spay-neuter clinics. That's all part of our community cat program, which has been a little bit sidelined by this COVID virus, but we hope to get back on track with it because we're trying to spay and neuter 2,020 cats this year. So keep that in mind. That program will still resurface as soon as things go back to normal. I want to let you know what we're doing at the shelter right now. We're all at work, though our adoptable animals are out having a vacation with our fosters. So there are no cats or dogs there, and you can't come over to the center to adopt right now like you used to. But what you can do is go on our website, adoptwcac.org, or Pet Finder, which are both accessible directly to Pet Finder. I wore my Pet Finder shirt today to remind you that that's how you adopt a pet right now. You go online, find an animal that you're interested in, read their bio, then go and fill out the adoption application, and when we get it at the shelter, we'll call you back. We'll talk about your household and whether that pet would be a good fit, and then we'll set up a time for you to come to the shelter with appropriate social distancing. You can come over and meet the pet. So we're not open to the public yesterday, and we still had 8 adoptions. So it's working. It's all social media based. We have those profiles on Pet Finder, which you can get to through our website by clicking on Adoptable Pets, or you can follow us on Facebook. And that's a fun way because when we get a new animal moved to an adoptable state and get them in a foster home, you'll know about it first if you follow us on Facebook. We do have a need for more fosters. If animals keep coming in, we will need new people to be fosters. We have about 60 active fosters right now with adoptable animals, and we are getting ready to have kitten season. It will not stop. Even though our lives are a little bit changed right now, the kittens don't know that, the cats don't know that, and kitten season will go on. So if you'd like to add yourself to our foster roster for cats, dogs, or newborn kittens, there is an application at that same website. It's called a foster application and agreement, and you can fill that out, send it in, and we'll call you back and keep you on a list. We would appreciate that as well if more homes are needed temporarily for someone who may have the COVID virus and doesn't have anybody to help them. We'll help them out with their pet, and you could be the one that takes care of their pet until they're well. We've also introduced a new program regarding stray animals. Because we're operating on a different schedule, we don't have the ability to take in a number of strays that we used to and handle them the same way. So if you find a stray animal, we're asking you to go online and report that stray, and we'll give you the option of letting that stray stay at your house for the 5-day waiting period, which is mandated by law. So we can try to find the owner. We'll use social media and local lost pet sites and give that little stray a staycation at your house if you can do that. And if you'd like to adopt them, you'll be top of the list for the adoption. So that's a little bit of a change. We are available at the shelter if things arise. We're always available for emergencies. Our animal control officers are out doing their job in the county. All our staff is there, and we're there to help you and advise you on any things that come up. You have questions, you feel you're unable to keep your pet, we have some options we can discuss with you in order to try to keep your pet in the home, or if you find a stray and you need to know what to do. The shelter is open, and we are answering the phones, 790-5590 for anything you need to know. There's a contact form on the website. If you just have a question, we'll respond to you that way. I'd also like to recommend that all of you do become followers of our Facebook page and our website, because that's the way you'll know the latest information about what's happening at the shelter. We are attempting to have the Saturday, April community rabies clinics that we usually have at area schools on Saturdays in April. However, that schedule is not firmed up at this time. And the best way for you to find out where they will be in your community is to follow us on the website or on Facebook, where we will give updates on those April community rabies clinics. I hope all of you stay safe, and rest assured we're trying to help you take care of your pets at the Williamson County Animal Center. Hello, I'm Debbie Sims, and I welcome you to How to Trap a Cat. An intimidating process. It sounds hard, but Samantha, or Sam Anderson, is here to show us that it's not. So this is a very small cat trap, right?
Yep, this would be for a kitten probably, or a smaller cat.
So there are larger versions for large cats, adult cats. So how do you determine whether you're going to trap an adult or the kittens? If you've seen them together, if you've seen a litter of kittens and seen a cat come and go with possibly food for them, or out foraging, coming back a couple of times a day, and you've watched them for a day or two.
Right.
And you think they do have a mom. Mm-hmm. So how do you go about that? If you've seen the mom and you see the kittens there, what's the first thing you do? Trapping. Do you have a plan, or what is the plan?
Yeah, so I would say take a look at the kittens and do make sure that their eyes are open and they're up and moving around, because then they don't necessarily have to get food from mom every couple of hours. And then you'll want a carrier and a trap. You'll put the kittens in the carrier, and then you'll butt that up against the trap, because the easiest way to catch mom is to use the kittens as bait. We do want to get mom and kittens, not just kittens, because if we take those kittens away, mom will just get pregnant again and the cycle starts over. So our goal is to really get both kittens and mom.
But the kittens, if you pick them up, they have to go to a foster home, which sort of taxes our foster system, because if mom's gone and we didn't get mom, then they have to be bottle fed for several weeks, right?
Right, and it's best to be with mom. Their best chance of survival is with their mother. Of course, our fosters do great work, but it doesn't compare to being with their mom.
And the advantage of that is mom doesn't have any more kittens. She goes through the spay-neuter release program at some point, and the kittens can grow up to be of the size that can be adopted, which is approximately what, 2 pounds?
About 2 pounds. And there is a common misconception that mom will stop lactating once she is fixed, and that is not true. She will continue to nurse the babies after she has been spayed, so that's not something that you have to worry about.
Do they get returned to the place they were found, or do they stay in foster with mom till they're bigger?
Typically, the person that has found them is willing to watch over them and then bring them in when it's time for spay or neuter. And a lot of people like watching them grow up with their mom and get bigger and reach some of those milestones.
And they're in a safe, if they're in a safe place.
Absolutely.
Right. So trapping can look a little intimidating, and one of the things I know you have told me is that when you're feeding animals in your neighborhood and you want to participate in getting them spayed and neutered, cats, that you need to feed at the same time every day.
Yes, cats are very smart and they know when food is available. So if you're not feeding on a consistent basis already, do start that and feed when it is convenient for you. If you're a morning person, you start feeding at 7 a.m. every day, they'll come at 7 a.m. every day. If it works for you to feed them at night, feed them at 5 o'clock each night. And if you continue to do that, they will come at 5 o'clock at night.
So after you've established that routine, then you can start bringing in a trap.
Yes.
And when the trap first arrives, you don't catch the cat right off the bat the first
Not
day.
always.
Within 10 minutes. It's not that kind of process because
Right.
you said cats are smart.
Yep.
And they notice their food is not where it used to be. It's inside a contraption. So,
Right.
So
Right.
you've got to do a few tricks
Yep.
to get them acclimated to entering the trap and making it seem like a safe place, right?
Yeah.
So by doing that, you leave it open for a period of time. Can you show us that?
Yep. So you're just going to take a bungee cord and you're just going to hook it so that the door stays open. If I can get it hooked here. It's a small bungee cord, but once you hook that, it'll stay open, and then you want to feed in the trap and only in the trap. Once they start to walk in and out, they'll realize that it's safe and it's not going to hurt them, and it'll just make them more comfortable with the process overall.
Now, you told somebody to get the smelliest food they could think of. And a sample that I brought was just a cat food sample. But you can get a lot smellier things, like a can of sardines for
Yep.
like $1.
Yep.
Or
Can of tuna.
Tuna, okay.
And if you're having a really tricky cat, fried chicken will also do the trick.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
But start with some wet cat food, more of the fishy flavors, and go up from there.
Okay, so put something very appealing and smelly, and then start to move their food bowl, I would assume, closer to the trap.
You just start feeding them inside
Just
the trap.
feed them
just
in the
start putting their
trap.
food
Okay.
in the trap here, and just get them used to walking in and out. And if they're hungry and you don't put food anywhere else, they will start to investigate.
Okay, so that's the trick, is to make them go inside.
Yes.
Now, we don't do kittens. We don't trap kittens because obviously they can't roam like an adult cat and they don't run away. So this is not for a tiny kitten.
Right, right. Sometimes kittens do go in the trap, but we don't just take them away. We have to do some investigating first
Right.
if we do catch
Right.
one.
And this one's rather small, like I mentioned earlier, and we have larger versions. Now,
Yes.
how do people, nobody wants to buy a cat trap probably, so how can we make them available to the public?
Yeah, so we have a lot for you to use. It's a $50 refundable deposit. You get all of your money back as long as you bring the trap back. And you can have it for 10 days, and I am happy to show you exactly how to set it in person and give you some advice. And there's also lots of great videos online of people that do this kind of stuff all the time, and they'll make it look really easy. And once you get the hang of it, it really is easy.
And they know the tricks of the trade.
Yes.
And I've seen you actually cover the trap on the outside with a towel or an old sheet.
Yep.
Why is that?
So firstly, sometimes if you cover it up a little bit, it'll make them more comfortable. But secondly, once they go into the trap, they will be scared. They will thrash. And so covering it up with a towel or a sheet, they feel like they're hidden and they feel a lot more comfortable. So we do want to make them as comfortable as possible during this whole process because we know it is a little bit scary.
Yeah. And putting a towel over it, and then you bring it to the shelter. Any cat in a trap can come. When can they drop them off?
You can come Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 9:30. That way we ensure that the cat can get fixed that day. We want the cat in our shelter as short of a time as possible because it's stressful. And the sooner they can go back outside, the happier they'll be.
And if they had to be trapped, then they're not as friendly and used to people.
Right.
And they're going to stay in the trap through their stay at the shelter.
Yes.
They're going be anesthetized, taken out, surgery, put back in here, and when they come back, people come back to pick up the cat, it'll be back in this, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And even if you are feeding a feral cat that you know it's feral but is friendly toward you, usually they really bond with their feeder and no one else. And so using this trap is going to be the safest for you, the safest for the cat, and the safest for our staff.
I understand that you did 1,100 of this type of animal last year, this type of community cat, and estimates are quite high for the county, as high as 50,000 cats out there need this surgery. So having a trap program where people can rent the trap, it helps everybody with the long-term solution, because nobody wants to have the cat injured or unfed or uncared for. And most of these are in residential areas. I mean, I think it's probably about half and half from what I've seen happen. You would think it was a rural problem, but yet we've seen people feeding 20 and 30 cats in a residential area.
Right.
Yeah, in the historic district.
Right.
Even.
Yes. In 2019, we caught overwhelmingly the majority of these cats came from Franklin, and a lot of people think it would be Fairview or College Grove, and we did get cats from there, but Franklin is really the hot spot for cats.
Well, where people are more densely situated and where it's more densely populated, and then the outlying areas in Spring Hill and places where a lot of new building is going on, like Thompson Station, we're finding that as the builders come in and level the wooded areas where a lot of feral cats might live, then the feral cats start roaming the new neighborhood because the house is in their territory.
Right.
So that's hard for people to understand.
Right.
And we've had calls about that as well, I know, in brand new neighborhoods. Say, I just moved here, but why are there 7 cats coming, around the back porch every night?
Exactly.
That's where they used to catch field mice, I guess. Right before the house got built. You do need help with this trapping program. In addition to an individual who might be watching who has a cat or 2 or 30 that they've seen in the neighborhood that wants to trap and bring them in. You need other people that are committed to the community cat program to become volunteers to help you.
Yes.
Okay, what can they do as a volunteer in your program? What are some of the things they can help you with?
So there are lots of things that people can do with shorter or longer time commitments. One is trapping cats. So once you've learned how and if you really like it, we do help people that are unable to trap due to a variety of things, because we want to help people even if they can't do it themselves. We need people to educate those in Williamson County that might not see this or might not follow social media, to let them know this service is available.
And you've actually put door hangers throughout neighborhoods before to say, hey, we're trying to help the strapped cats. Will you please help us?
Yes, and that takes manpower.
It does. It does. So they could go together with a friend to a neighborhood that you gave them a handful of door hangers on Saturday and spend an hour walking through and answer. If someone asked them a question, they could answer it.
Absolutely.
Or a person needed help and was physically unable, you could send a volunteer to their home and they could go out. And this is all done outside. I just want to make that clear.
Yes.
That you could go out into the area that they've seen the cat and set the trap for them and kind of become their helper.
Yep.
Okay, and then some other things. What else?
People that are willing to do some transportation. There are some times where we go and trap 20 to 30 cats at a time, so we need some vehicles to help us transport them.
Okay.
And then if you ever want to come to the shelter and help during a clinic day, a lot of that is just taking the cats where they need to go, to the vet's office, to the recovery room, and back to their person.
And we'll have those throughout, starting twice a week in April and going throughout the summer. So we'll have those dates posted as well. And if anybody wants to become a volunteer, that's an option.
Yes.
Because some people would rather work on their own time, trap a couple of cats when they have time, because they like to see the program go to the next step rather than just talk about it.
Right.
They want to do something. And they may not be attuned to coming to the shelter and petting cats. They may see that the need in the community is something else that they want to do.
Right.
So We want you to have that. And education is also important. If there are neighborhood groups that they go to the homeowners meeting twice a year, then they could stand up and say, hey, I work in the community cat program at Williamson County Animal Center as a volunteer, and here's what I've learned.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Don't complain about the cats. Let's, try to find the owner. And you mentioned that most cats don't have any identification on them. We only returned a few cats to owner last year, didn't we, at the shelter?
Yes, the national average for return to owner of a stray cat is only 2%, and that's all over the country. We're lucky enough to have a little bit of a higher return to owner rate, but a lot of cats, even if they are owned, don't have any identification. And if they have a home, we want them to go back to it instead of be with us.
So microchip your cat. I mean,
Yes.
we're microchipping these ferals that come through the program.
We do.
Because we want to know when they come back in, where they've been, if they're in the same area,
Right.
if something has changed. We want to be able to identify them.
Exactly.
And so I would encourage everybody to microchip your cat, because notoriously they don't like collars and that kind of thing.
Right. And we did just return a cat to its owner last week that was 6 miles away from home.
Wow.
So cats typically travel about a mile every day if they're outdoors, but they can travel a lot further, especially during breeding season.
That was a very confused cat.
Yes.
That's contrary to all of this instinct about going to where your food source is, isn't
Right,
it?
right.
But
Sometimes
it
they
happens.
gallivant.
It happens. They gallop. They go out on a journey.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate you letting us know that trapping is nothing to be scared of. And if anyone wants to rent a trap and help you with this program, we're trying to trap, neuter, and return 2020 cats in 2020. So call Sam Anderson at the shelter, 790-5590, extension 1823. She will walk you through the steps and answer any questions that you have in helping us with trapping and bringing enough cats through the program that we make a change in the county.